you so much for joining us for our monthly board meeting on this absolutely beautiful day. Could I ask you to please raise for this Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'd just like to make note that Tricia Biles is virtual with us this evening and that Marianne McKenzie is absent. We get to start this evening with a wonderful presentation from our art department, and that will be presented by Erin McGrath. Hi, Erin. It's nice to see you again. And many of you might know me as Erin Conway. Oh, I'm sorry. I should have said that.
So if you look tonight around the library, we've been purposely putting artwork out for you to look at. Some of them are denoted as National Art Honor Society students, and some of them are Junior Art Honor or National Art Honor Society students. So as you are in the library tonight, you may want to take a look around. So this is our Fine Arts Department curriculum review. This is just a quick quote from one of the seniors. We thought this kind of summed up a lot of what we do. I love all of my art classes being able to use them as my creative outlet when I'm struggling in school. Art is one of my main coping skills: painting, drawing, photography, crafts, etc. So I thought that would set the tone this evening. So these are our standards for the arts. They were developed in about 2016, 2017, and we are utilizing them daily in our units and our curriculum, and as we assess our students. The conceptual framework is indicated with measurable benchmarks. We work with creating, performing, and presenting, process and skill-based standards, responding and connecting, having that higher order thinking, and we focus on some of the many things we focus on are skills, essential questions, and grade specific performance and indicators and benchmarks. So there's been some changes to the art department, and it's all been very positive. We've worked on streamlining the curriculum, so there's more collaboration, communication, and scaffolding with the learning vertically K through 12. Allison Lauren, Carrie Dudek, and I have been consistently meeting and planning so that there's a lot of vertical collaboration. The elementary art collaborates with youth scholars for their Genius Hour and creates projects and artwork. The curriculum development and course offerings for PACE students is still strong in grades 7 through 12, which is really important for those students. We've increased our studio and art enrollment by better promoting elective course offerings in the junior high school. We recently, as of this past June, had 2 department retirements. So balancing the junior and senior high course offerings that were once taught by 3 art teachers have been a big change in the department that we've been working through. In addition, we've been encouraging advanced placement offerings in drawing, 2D design, 3D design, and art history. Would give any students taking those courses college credit and college level experience. Currently working on public awareness. We just had many students get into the SPAC art show, and 5 students were selected for Talented Unlimited in the visual arts. So just even yesterday, we found out some good news about our public awareness in the community. And we've been attending conferences at both the state and national levels, even through COVID. So some minor changes have been just staying current with the visual art trends and instructional strategies. And again, working as a team with K through 12 instruction. Some of the needs, well, there's always lots of needs, but we'd like to maintain 2 art teachers in the junior, senior high school. We'd like to increase art class time within grades K through 6. Continue professional growth experience, especially TAB instruction, which would be K through 8. Teaching artistic behavior that's the acronym for that. And continue support to attend state and national conferences. In regards to the district's strategic plan, our create values, we help support these values with 21st century skills, collaboration, communication, development of identity, creativity, and critical thinking, which are taught in each lesson, K through 12, and directly relate to our standards. We engage the community through our participation in various art shows and opportunities both within the school and local community. The visual arts develop deep cultural connections and competence in many levels, from course offerings, art history, as well as techniques and the methods that we teach. We help raise the bar, we help raise the bar by empowering students to be college and career ready, I read faster than I can talk sometimes, and I always tell my students, like, it's just, I need to take a deep breath, so I'm gonna do that right now.
Yes.
We raise the bar through empowering students to be college and career ready to pursue the arts after high school through portfolio development, advanced courses, and advanced placement studio art offerings. And we close the cap through we help to increase the graduation rate by offering flexible courses and electives that are engaging, rigorous, and relevant. Some checkpoints and goals for the future. We hope to continue implementing our standards for the 2001-2022 school year. Continue development and implementation of our vertical alignment, essential questions, measurable student outcomes, authentic assessments as outlined in our standards. Explore the implementation of TAB, which is Teaching for Artistic Behavior, for the elementary and junior high school programs, and continue our collaborative art department work for grades K through 12. We have some quick data analysis for you. Our data looks a lot different than the math department, a lot different than a lot of the other departments. We currently have 21 freshmen enrolled in studio and art. A recent survey of the students in grades 7 through 12 indicate that more half-year art electives were desired for students to fit into their art into their academic schedules. And we were able to accommodate that this year for the program of studies. We added additional half-year electives so that students that are trying to balance all of the things that they would like to take in high school are able to do so and fit art in. Flexibility is key. 100% of our senior art majors are accepted into colleges of their choice. The annual junior high art show is going to be revived this year through Carrie Dudek. She's taking that on. We'll have another junior high art show at the Marriott, which I started back when I started here at Lake George, and Carrie's taking the torch on that. So we're really excited about that. And our annual elementary art show, which coincides with the yearly budget vote. We'll have Allison Lauren's students' spectacular artwork throughout the halls, and so please come vote. The high 30th juried show, Lake George represented 15% of the show last year. This year, we have our fingers crossed to continue that tradition. And last year, we took some best in show for ceramics, photography, and metalsmithing. And this is where I just wanted to kind of keep it brief and kind of keep it to the point, but this is where we can take questions and comments. And I believe all of you got like a little flyer that has all of our current,
Did your department do this as well?
Yes, I put that together yesterday with Carrie so that
very
we
pretty.
could showcase some of the different art shows that are coming up that either we're facilitating at the school or out in the community.
Thank you, Erin.
So yes,
That
thank
was
you.
Very fact-filled presentation, and I can say that all my many years being involved with this school district, one of the things that I've appreciated the most is the recognizing the value of art education in balance with academic education. So you've continued to create a wonderful program, and anybody just has to walk through both of our buildings to realize that. So thank you for all your fine efforts.
Thank you.
Thank you. And like how you tied it in the beginning, the socio-emotional health of our students, art is really beneficial for that. So I'm glad you started with that, and it's a very valuable program. Thank you for all
Yeah,
you do.
thank you.
And I so enjoy seeing the art when I'm in both of the buildings. It's just so uplifting, and I'm amazed at the variety, the talent, the originality. And thank you for giving us the list of exhibits. Not only are they displayed in our school, but the kids have an opportunity to put their work in many places. And that's not something that happens by accident. That's, a plan by your department. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah, after working here for 28 years, I realized that there are many students who actually come to school because of art classes. And that's a good thing, to get them to school to learn in general and everything, but that it definitely draws a lot of kids in. So I appreciate everything that you do and your department does. And thank you.
Thank you. All right, well, thank you for your time. I'm sorry if I stumbled through that. And if there's any questions, you can reach out to me at any time.
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good
Thanks.
evening.
You too. Thank you. Moving along, we have the instructional budget presentation by our interim business official, Lynn Durway.
Thank you. And what you see tonight is a summary of the instructional portion of the budget. The process actually began months ago with individual teachers providing information on detailed requisition forms. Those forms. Thank you. Those forms then made their way up to the principals. The principals reviewed everything. They were given the proper budget codes, and then they come over to my office. And the details were actually reviewed by the Audit and Finance Committee as well at our last meeting. So again, we look at our mission statement and how that empowers all. The Lake George Central School District will personalize opportunities that empower all students to be lifelong learners, leaders, and global citizens. So looking at the three main portions of the budget, tonight, as I said, will be the instructional portion. It's the largest portion, 51%. At the last meeting, Dr. Huntley reviewed the non-instructional portion, and at the April meeting, we'll look at the undistributed portion of the budget. So within the instructional portion of the budget, there are four main categories, with teaching being the largest category at 73%, followed by pupil services at 12%, instructional media at 11%, and administration and improvement at 5%. This provides you with a description of what is in each one of those four categories. Administration improvement is primarily for supervision, in-service training, conferences, any speakers we would have come in. And teaching K through 12 is for your regular day school program. It also includes our special needs students, occupational ed, and remediation. Under instructional media, we have two areas, school library and computer-assisted instruction. And everything else falls into pupil services, whether it's guidance services, health, social work, our resource officers, co-curricular, and athletics. So under administration and improvement, we really strive to maintain the professional development opportunities for everyone. And some of the programs that we subscribe to are Positive Coaching Alliance for athletics and Leader in Me. Under teaching, again, we're maintaining all programs. We've reduced staff through attrition. We actually are going to see a 1.5 FTE decrease next year, along with 2 FTEs for TAs. And we're seeing an increase in our students that are outside the district due to disabilities. Under instructional media, again, maintaining all our programs and services, software upgrades, EdLaw 2D, which involves student security and privacy information, and our MacBook replacement program. So I want to talk a little bit about that because I wasn't familiar with it. In kindergarten, each student is given an iPad, which stays right in the classroom. And those iPads are replaced every 4 years. When the student goes on to first grade, they're given new iPads and they keep those iPads for 4 years. Then in the 5th grade, they get a laptop, which they keep for 4 years. 9th grade, same thing, 4 years. And we have Apple Care coverage on all the devices. Looking at pupil services, co-curricular and extracurricular programs are maintained. Also, it covers uniform, equipment upgrades, things of that sort. So this is how the figures break down among those four, categories. And you have a 2-year comparison with the overall total being 12,464,742, an increase of 212,902 over last year, which represents a % increase of 1.74. And if you click on that link, detailed information, this is what, I know you can't read it, but this is what we refer to as our line-by-line budget. So all the detail behind all those program codes are there. So some of the equipment that's being replaced next year, we have some musical equipment, saxophone, clarinet, digital camera, whiteboard, weight room and fitness equipment is being upgraded. There's a request for a backboard at our tennis courts, a CNC router for technology, graphic calculators, classroom projector, and of course the MacBook replacements. So looking ahead at our April meeting, we'll review the undistributed portion of our budget, the remaining portion, and we'll look at the revenue side. Then on May 3rd, we have the budget hearing. And on the 17th, of course, we have the vote, the budget vote, along with the trustee vote. And that's at the elementary school. Are there any questions from the board?
I don't have a question, Lynn, but I want to make sure people knew that, this PowerPoint is in the agenda. And if anybody wanted to review it in the agenda and click on that detailed attachment, that it's available to everybody in the agenda on the website.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Anyone else have a question? Thank you, Lynn, so much. That was a very detailed presentation. Appreciate it. Now we have our elementary update with our elementary principal, Mr. Conway.
All right, so quick review, and then I have some things coming up in the future. But on Friday, the 18th, we had the Lake George Elementary School Winter Olympics. I want to thank Marianne and Katie for being there and joining in the ceremonies with us. And the day really focused on whole person, spirit, mind, and body for our students and our staff. And we started the event with the opening ceremonies with the Star Spangled Banner. Our 4th graders got us started with that. And our kids had a great day. They participated in activities outside, from winter hikes to sledding to the Gaga Ball pit. Inside, they were treated to assemblies by sweethearts and heroes. They were involved in communication circles. They worked with high school students and other and elementary staff members, learning about mindfulness, heart and soul conversations. And all grade levels played a part in making that day a success, whether it was, again, the opening ceremonies or researching Olympic athletes. And I saw Jaden a minute ago. He's running. He's still running. He ran the torch in the opening ceremonies. But all of our kids played an important part in that day, and it was meaningful to them. And just all in all, we focus a lot on academics, and we pride ourselves on our kids' academic success. But this is as meaningful as anything that we do, and that was definitely on display on the Olympic Day. So it was a great event for us at LGS. Updates on the Student Lighthouse teams. Our kids are still doing some pretty cool things that are about to happen. They have a movie night planned for March 25th. They met with Mr. Kokoza and organized, reserved the space, and they've worked through our PTSO. They're hosting a movie night on March 25th here at the junior senior high. They've got birdhouses going out to the courtyard that they're designing along with Mr. Saletti, a gaga ball pit, buddy benches. Some girls have big plans. Addison has big plans. Actually, a lot of parents here whose kids are involved in this, which is pretty cool. They've designed these murals. They're in the process of making this happen in our gym. The elementary gym's pretty drab and boring, but they've got some pretty grand plans to change that. Mindfulness club after school that some girls have put together, therapy dogs visiting the school, and not directly connected to the Lighthouse team, but for the third year in a row, kids are putting together our version of a yearbook, our memory book. I don't do it. They're putting it together. So some really good things going on there. This month, big celebration for PARP, Parents as Reading Partners. Oftentimes, actually, when it first started, it was called Pick a Reading Partner. And we're kind of making sure that our events take place at school. Sometimes some of our kids don't have that person at home that they have as a go-to person, sadly. So we're really trying to make sure that we're keying in on activities at school this year. And we kick things off with an author visit from Jeff Mack, who was interesting. Oftentimes, the authors that visit us take the perspective of the writing process. And so the kids get a lot of that. And we spent a lot of time on writing process, and it was timely because of the art presentation that he spent a lot of time on teaching kids about illustration, which was pretty cool. And I talked to some of our students later in that day, and they enjoyed that. They enjoyed the fact that it was something unique. So a lot of events going on this month. Also, I want to share that our Battle of the Books team, we do like to compete at LGS as well. Last year, our kids really were the most successful school in the region. When you think about every grade level placing in some manner in comparison, which I might compare sometimes to see how we do compared to other schools, they really did a great job. And this year it's virtual again, and those dates are March 14th and March 16th. I want to share that we do have New York State tests this year. ELA is at the end of March, and then math is at the end of April. And again, we try not to make a big deal of it with our kids. And it was funny last night. I mentioned that at the PTSO meeting, and one of the kids went, "That's when the tests are?" And I was like, "Perfect." That was perfect. But those are coming up, as is our kindergarten parent information night, which is on March 31st. Amazing. We're getting to that point where we'll start talking to our parents about kindergarten roundup, which is at the beginning of May. And then a big event, mark your calendars, April 6th is our science fair from 5 to 6:30 in the elementary school gym. So we invite you to come in and see some of the science projects that our kids have put together, both in school and then at home. And that's my report.
Well, that was a great report. Thank you.
Mhm.
Really
You're
exciting
welcome.
things going on at the elementary school. Can I ask just one question?
Sure.
Do you have an inkling of what incoming numbers look like yet?
So at this time of year, you just don't know because I don't even know if
Too
the
early.
ad went out yet. But it's likely to be a 2-section group. So
Okay.
similar to some of our smaller class sizes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jim. That
You're
was a
welcome.
great report. Thank you.
Thanks.
Jim, you mentioned Mary Ann McKenzie and I were fortunate enough to be at the Olympics. We got there for opening ceremonies and got to watch a lively round of Gaga Ball, which, who knows, it may make it to the Olympics. It's such a popular activity. But the piece that was so touching to me was the Sweethearts and Heroes. And we both got to attend one of those sessions. And it was such an incredible opportunity for not only our students, but for all our adults in the school.
They deliver the message to the staff loud and clearly
Absolutely.
too.
And
don't they?
it was so impressive,
What
so
they did with their
touching.
staff.
The social emotional piece that you addressed. And I love how you embraced all of that, the whole child through an Olympic lens. So it was really, really well done. Thank you.
Thanks. And thanks for being there. Right.
Thanks, Jim. Now our secondary report, Mr. Kokoza.
Hi, good evening. Just a few items. First, as always, at the March board meeting, I present to the board formally the graduating senior honors group, the top 10% of the senior class. And as you all well know, we work directly with the honor group in preparing for the graduation ceremony. So listed in alphabetical order, Emma Abrantes, Emily Fuller, Isaac Herrick, Anita Preuss, Ryan Quirk, Christian Saletti, and Jack Varney. So there are 7 students in the top 10% of the class because the class has 70 kids in it. So I'm excited to be working with them in the coming months in planning their graduation ceremony. A great group, and I'm sure you recognize many of those names.
7's not very many. Can you import any for
Yeah.
helping you with that
That's the
big
last,
event?
that's the last large number. Unfortunately, after that, it goes significantly down. Lake George High School is pleased to be preparing for our second annual job fair. So in working with our community partners, next Wednesday, March 16th, our FBLA, our business department, have been working intricately with the Warren County Work Board Force Development Group, along with our community partners, to have over 30 businesses represented in our gymnasium for a job fair. Last year, you might recall, we had our first ever job fair here at the high school. It was such a success with the number of kids getting summer employment that the employers asked for it and our students have asked for it. So actually tomorrow, we have an extended guide room in which our guide room teachers will be working with students to prepare them better for next Wednesday's job fair. So our teachers have a bunch of information, and you can't really see it because it's electronically linked off of this flyer. But our students in guide room tomorrow will be prepared to start planning ahead for the job fair, what to expect, what questions to ask, what to look for, and most importantly, how to follow up with those employers that they might be interested in. Last year, we had a record number of students asking for working papers. We actually ran out of working papers. So we're excited to put this on for a second time this year, second time for our school, second annual, and hopefully it'll become an annual part of what we do here in the spring for our student body. Believe it or not, we wrapped up our winter sports last week and the week before, and Monday begins our spring sports season. So Monday, JV and varsity will begin this spring season, and hopefully the snow will melt very soon. Our forum, our shared decision-making body, is still plugging along with some revisions to our dress code. We've had to go back to the larger forum to ask some clarifying and focusing questions in relation to our dress code, along with some more information that we're going to be sharing with our student bodies to solicit more information. So although that process has taken a little longer than we had thought, through our shared decision-making body, we're hopeful that we're going to have a wide constituency represented in a new dress code with the goal of it being unveiled late this spring for next September.
Right.
The Alumni Association had another successful fundraiser on Friday in which they sold out of all their chicken parms and are actively planning a basketball tournament, which used to be a staple here in Lake George for many, many years and took a hiatus for quite a while. And our Alumni Association has brought that back. I don't want to give you the details of it because I want you to go to the website, the Lake George Alumni website, to get the details of it. But I'm so pleased with how our association is re-engaging with our alumni, because there are many, and there are many who are still local. So I look forward to that basketball tournament making a comeback here at the school. And then finally, last week on Sunday of last week, Dr. Huntley, along with the administrators in the district, we received the notice that New York State repealed the mask mandate midweek of that coming week. So Dr. Huntley convened the administrators to plan that coming week in a very thoughtful way to support our students in both K through 12 in both buildings. What we did in the morning of Monday is we met with our staffs. We talked about it. We prepared them for that change. Many of our staff then in their classrooms at the elementary level and at the high school level had conversations with our students Monday and Tuesday. And then Wednesday morning, when the masks were going from a mandate to a recommendation or not required, it was a seamless change and transition for our entire school district. One of the things that we most specifically emphasized with our staff and our student body was to respect the choice. And in each building, we have many students who are choosing to continue to wear masks. And in each building, we have many staff who are continuing to choose to wear masks, and as many not wearing masks. And through the supportive, appropriate, and very thoughtful change that our district has utilized last week, I can confidently tell you, and I know Mr. Conway as well, our students and staff feel very supported in whatever choice they have made on a daily basis. So we're pleased with that, and we wanted to at least take a moment just to recognize that thanks to Dr. Huntley, we as a district were able to transition. Our students especially were very supportive in this. So I don't know if there's any questions. I know I threw a lot of topics at you.
Thank you, Fran,
You
for
forgot
that
something.
seamless transition to unmasking. That, I know it was a lot of work, and all the CSOs and the district superintendent went through a lot of meetings, and the board really respects all the time and extra effort that's had to go into all of this. So thank all of you very much.
And tell everyone how wonderful Bravo was.
Oh,
Yes.
That was a
so
good night.
This, as a result of many restrictions being eased, one of the highlights that we've had on a every other year basis is our Bravo, our foreign language, our world language extravaganza. And unfortunately, Dr. Huntley's schedule didn't permit for him to be there with another commitment. However, he did hear the next day from many people how wonderful it is. We had over 600 people in the auditorium.
It was crazy.
And it was a great celebration and a wonderful way that our whole community came together.
Yeah. We have some talented students too.
yeah.
We did. We did.
A much needed evening, I think.
Yeah. it was
Much
fun.
needed evening, but additionally, all of the personalities that had been, I think,
Masked.
masked for any other way to say it, came out that evening. So it was exciting.
Yeah.
So
Well, thank you so much. A great report.
thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Huntley for the superintendent's report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I won't repeat what Fran just said about the transition to optional masking. But just from my perspective, it was seamless. It was a terrific transition, and I don't underestimate the effort, the work, the planning, the care, the consideration that our administrators put into the transition. Our teachers, the work that they did in making the transition, support staff, our bus drivers, everyone, parents and students, everyone had a piece. And I don't think we can underestimate the transition of students, some students never having experienced school over a 2-year period of time without masks. So I know at the elementary school, that must have been a terrific day for your kids. And we do respect the right of students to wear masks, and we respect the right of students not to wear masks. Same with faculty and staff. So that went very well, and still continues to go well. The American Rescue Plan funds that the district is receiving, our plans for the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning project has been approved by the State Education Department. So we're waiting that we've met with the architects, Tetra Tech, and we're waiting now and should receive shortly plans for that project, cost estimates, and availability of services to hopefully conduct that project over a 2-year period of time this summer and next summer. That's what we're hoping for. We thought it was much more realistic in the fall when we were doing the planning than we do right now. But if it doesn't happen this summer, then it'll be the next 2 summers. We also are closing in on the 2018 capital project. We've met with the architects last week. The architects were conducting their final inspection, so to speak, putting their punch list together for final review, and we should be receiving a report on that punch list sometime this week. So the progress continues to be made. Sometimes it seems a little bit slower than it ought to be, but there are usually reasons for that. But as I mentioned, we should receive a report this week on that closing out of the 2018 project. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Huntley. Moving along, we'll hear from our president, Tricia Biles.
Hello, can you all hear me?
Not very loud, Tricia.
How about now?
Still pretty mild.
Is there something you can do on your end? I'm top volume.
Dane's checking right now. Hang on.
Okay.
Trish,
All
go
right,
ahead.
how's that? Is that better?
Oh, that's great. Yes, thank you.
Excellent.
Thanks, Dane.
Thank you. All right, so this report is the update on the superintendent search. And I'm very pleased to report that we have completed our first and second round interviews. And that means we've screened our applicant pool of 21 applicants. We've interviewed 7 candidates. We've had 4 back for second round interviews. And just have to say, our group of candidates were excellent. We were very impressed with the volume of candidates, their professionalism, their specific interest in Lake George, and their work experience. We, as a board, maintain focus on their experience and qualities that aligned with the candidate profile that was done collectively with a lot of input. And we've also participated in a preliminary contract review with Chris Lanchanton of the Gervin Law Firm. So after in-depth reference checks, we intend to bring 2 candidates back as finalists. We anticipate these 2 candidates being announced tomorrow. And both of the finalists they'll each spend a different day in the district touring schools, meeting with school professionals and students. And each evening of those days, there'll be a Meet the Candidates night where the candidate and the community can get to know one another better. So we'll invite faculty, staff, students, community members. They can give their feedback to the board immediately by way of an electronic survey. And then we'll have a culminating interview with the board that day. And I know we've had some folks reach out. We had a news organization reach out. We've had some community members wonder if this is going to be put out on video participation, and that answer is no. The design of the Meet the Candidates night is going to be really for an in-person get to know. There'll be an exchange back and forth. It won't work well with audio to have outside setup, and we want to keep it closed to our community. So if there's anybody who's listening right now, you can contact Sarah Barton and RSVP to be at that event. We will hold it at the high school, and it will depend on how many people RSVP of where we hold it. So so that we can have as much as possible that feel of get to know you, that back and forth exchange in person. So that's important. And I just want to say thank you so much to all of our partners at BOCES who have supported our search efforts. Jim Dexter and John Koralski have been instrumental. Their level of professionalism, their ability to individualize the search to match the Lake George board specific approach is exceptional. I want to thank the admin team, Jim, Fran, and Megan. Your collaboration, your insights are fantastic. And Dr. Huntley, great thanks to you. You're assisting every step of the way with logistics and advice, and your ever steady presence and guidance is very much appreciated. And board team, I just have to say, you know, the time, the focus, and the energy that each of you bring to the process is yielding excellent results. We're on track with our timeline. We've got excellent candidates. All of our interactions have been laying the foundation for our future visioning, strong relationships, which we identified as a priority. So well done, well done. And those dates for Meet the Candidates are March 21st and 22nd. Any questions?
No, thank you, Tricia. That's a great deal of information, and we're so happy that we had lovely candidates that applied, and any one of them probably would have made the job, and it was hard to choose, but we have two wonderful candidates and looking forward to moving forward with the decision. So, and thank all my board members too. You guys are great. So, thank you, Tricia. Audit and Finance Committee report. Katie?
Okay. The Audit and Finance Committee met on March 2nd, and we reviewed the treasurer's report. The financial activity for the month was fairly routine with nothing noteworthy, and it is item C on the school business consent agenda for approval tonight. The January 2022 auditor's report was also reviewed, and the claims auditor reviews all payments before checks are released in order to ensure payments are appropriate and accurate. It is item D on the business consent agenda tonight for approval. And Lynn Durway gave us a great presentation for the instructional portion of the budget, which we reviewed. So I won't go over that again. That was a great presentation. Thank you, Lynn. We noted that the Lake George Education Association was scheduled to vote on ratifying the contract on March 3rd, which they did, and an MOU, a memorandum of understanding in regards to the TA salaries will also be recommended. And this came about after staff association salaries were increased following the New York State minimum wage. And on section 5, items B and C refer to these items that we'll be voting on tonight. Negotiations with the Lake George Administration Association will begin this month, as will discussions with employees not represented by bargaining units. A memorandum of understanding will be prepared to memorialize the current practice regarding the district's health reimbursement account deductible reimbursement in the amount of $500 for individual and $1,000 for families, which is assessed after the Wish We Trust, which is Washington, Saratoga, Washington, Hamilton, Essex.
Almost.
Counties.
Almost.
Oh, what did I say?
Washington,
Washington,
Saratoga,
Oh, no.
Warren, Hamilton, Essex, BOCES. There you go.
Did I get it?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Washington a couple of times.
Okay. Oh, yeah, Washington,
Saratoga.
Warren, okay. Also lovingly known as Wishwe, so.
No, nobody says that actually.
They don't?
No.
Okay.
It's horrible.
And until the balance is exhausted for the staff association and the CSEA. We're in the process of developing our request for proposals for insurance, since the agreement with the current independent auditor includes auditing for the current year. We will not have a request for proposal until next year for that. Our next meeting is March 23rd, and the April meeting was scheduled originally. It fell on spring break, so we've rescheduled that one to April 27th. And just a note that item B and C on the agenda tonight are the school bus proposition and the capital reserve fund proposition. And both of those items were presented last month and reported out last month, and we'll be voting on them tonight. And that's it.
Thank you, Katie. Any questions for Katie? Okay, thank you. Board development is moving on. Even though we've been really involved in our search, we have to carry on with the regular business that we do. And our annual self-evaluation is coming up. We're right on schedule, which is good. Sarah has already uploaded the format, which is Super Eval, so you can go in anytime. And we have a deadline for completing that process by April 11th. Thank you, Katie, for putting those dates together. I appreciate it. Also, the Board Development Committee will be meeting in the near future. I'm meeting with Dr. Huntley tomorrow. We're going to be looking at setting up some kind of workshop for transition plan with our new superintendent. So as soon as we get I'll be coming back to the committee with potential dates for that meeting. And then when that committee has met, we'll come back with further information for the full board. So that's board development. So moving on to curriculum. Rose.
Okay, the curriculum committee met on February 8th. We had a nice presentation from the science department, K-12. I've attached their presentation to the minutes here that are attached to the agenda. And I think the science department's really worried about our kids, as we all are, about their mental health and hopefully getting them back on track with their academic work. The Regents exams have been canceled the past couple of years, and, they're trying to get them back in the swing of things. So preparing for Regents again. They talk about increasing rigor, raising critical thinking. The goal at the elementary school is redeveloping the curriculum K-6, and the district is concentrating on K-12. So there are some needs in the science department. There are needs in the K-12 curriculum coordination with the professional development, and they're looking at funding their summer camp for STEM again. So they had a great presentation. They do have some needs, some concerns about the kids, and it was a wonderful presentation. So any questions?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Rose, very much. Okay. Now we come upon the policy committee report. Ms. Bieber is standing in for Mary Ann tonight.
All right. Well, let's see here. We've got some policies moving forward for second read. We have 7 policies moving forward. 5220 for investments, 1338 duties of the school physician, 2110 orienting and training board members, 5683 fire and emergency drills, bomb threats and emergency drills, 5570 financial accountability, 5230 acceptance of gifts, grants, bequests to district, and 5130 budget adoption. One of the policies will be rescinded, 5150 contingency budget, because that will be covered under the 5130 policy that has to do with budget adoption. Otherwise, there are policies coming up for first read, 5 policies. The policies came before us via Erie One BOCES updates. The first one is 3220. It has to do with use of assistance animals, which distinguishes between service animals and other assistance animals and adds optional categories for therapy dogs. 6140 has to do with requirements for employee medical examinations. There's been changes in the commissioner's regulations requirement that school bus drivers be examined within 8 weeks, increased from the previous requirements of 4 weeks. 5740 qualifications of bus drivers. Same as 6140. 5731 has to do with idling school buses on school grounds, and there are changes in the commissioner's regulations there that have to do with idling of a school bus or a vehicle engine, and what's permitted on school grounds, as well as when the buses are loaded and unloaded. And then the last policy for first read is 5730. It pertains to school bus safety. And it's going to be revised to better conform the language of the policy with law, as well as to help keep the policy evergreen in light of our ever-changing electronic devices that can be used to communicate with others. Other than that, the DEI policy and update there, the policy committee has actually crafted a draft policy that's being reviewed and fine-tuned electronically. And once that's completed, the draft will be shared with the ad hoc policy committee along with a consensus survey. Just to let you know, our March policy meeting date was changed also. The policy meeting will be held on March 28th. So, thank you.
Any questions for Janine? Nice job, Janine. Thank
Oh,
you.
Thank you.
Okay, so, this one first. Go with the list first.
Yes.
Okay. Now we've reached our public comment period. The board is always anxious to hear from anyone who attends our meetings and lives in our community. We respect your opinions. Hope you respect ours as well. This portion of public comment is for items relating to items on the agenda, and we ask that you limit your comments to 3 minutes. On the list tonight, Linda Clark.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, but I have no.
Okay, thank you for coming and attending. We appreciate it. Anyone else have a comment that they would care to make this evening? Yes, ma'am. That's okay. If you just tell us who you are and where you live. Yeah. I think we knew that. Oh. It's on the top.
Can you hear me?
There, it's on, yes. Yeah,
I
you
did.
don't
I
have to
wanted
stand
to
too
say
close.
thank you to both you gentlemen because my girls, they had a great week at school and I feel like I've seen so many smiling faces. I think the teachers really enjoyed seeing it. I like seeing your faces. It's been a nice adjustment. I think I was proud. I was proud of our community. So I just had to share that. I didn't plan on speaking, but I had to share that. Have a good night. Thanks.
Hey.
Yes. Thank you, Amanda. Appreciate it. Does anyone else have a comment they'd care to share with the board this evening? Okay, well, thank you so much for attending and we'll continue our meeting. Thanks. So moving right along, we will we have the school business consent agenda. Dr. Huntley?
Thank you. So it's my recommendation that the board approves the resolution to approve the minutes of meetings on February 8 and 10. Also on the consent agenda is a recommendation for CSE approval. C and D, the treasurer's report that is, and claims auditor's report that has already been reported by Katie, along with the policies that have been mentioned earlier. G is to approve the sale of a 2009 Ford F-25 pickup truck that was previously surplus and put out to bid. H is the March surplus that's deemed obsolete or damaged materials beyond repair for the district. I, this is the annual merger recommendation for approval for the wrestling program with Hadley Luzerne. J is the cooperative purchasing program.
Need a motion? Oh, we have a second? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions or further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Thank you, Tricia. Did you get that, Sarah? Okay. All right. So moving on to faculty staff recognitions. Dr. Huntley. Oh, yep. School bus.
School bus,
Oh, I'm sorry. Where are we?
school bus proposition.
Okay, sorry, the school bus proposition. Dr.
Okay.
Huntley.
I recommend the board approve the school bus proposition that will be presented to the voters of the district at the annual meeting held on May 17, 2022. This is required, and we need to have 4 legal notices for the May vote. So my recommendation is for the board to approve the proposition.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
I also recommend that the board approve the capital reserve fund proposition that's been reported on at least a couple of occasions. And again, education law requires that the wording of the proposition be included in the 4 legal notices for the May vote. So I recommend the board approve the capital reserve fund.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you.
An
Code of
ad,
conduct.
an ad hoc committee was formed to develop and review a district-level code of conduct. The code of conduct was presented in February in a public hearing. I recommend that the board move to approve the district code of conduct.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. Vex Robotics.
The VEX Robotics team has done well again this year. The team is attending a state qualifying event March 11 and 12. And if the team does well, they'll be eligible to attend the World VEX Robotics Championship, which will be held in Dallas, Texas this year. I recommend that the board approve the potential participation in the World VEX Robotics Tournament in Texas.
So moved.
Second.
I think we have a motion and a second. Any further questions or? Melissa, yeah. All those in favor? Opposed? Of course. Motion is carried. Thank you. And a nomination to the WSWHE BOCES Board of Cooperative Educational Services.
Lynn King is seeking a nomination to run for re-election to the BOCES Board. Lynn's represented the BOCES Board and has been a valued member of that team for many years. It's my recommendation that the Lake George Central School District nominate Lynn King for this role.
So moved on that one.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you. Motion is carried.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite things. It's a great organization. Our kids do a lot of great things too from there as well. So, okay, now we have faculty, staff appointments and recognitions.
So I recommend, Brian Cleveland is being recommended to fill the position of cleaner nights. So I recommend the board move to approve Brian Cleveland for that position. Do we want to take these one at a time, Sarah, or all 3 of them at the same time? Okay.
A, B, and C.
I also, as part of that motion, is to amend the 21-22 substitute list not hired through BOCES and to amend the 21-22 volunteer coach list.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. Lake George Education Association contract.
The board's being asked to approve the Lake George Education Association contract commencing July 1, 2022 through June 30th, 2025. This is a fair 3-year contract with the union, which mutually benefits both the district and the union. It's my recommendation that the board approve this contract.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions for Dr. Huntley? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. Thank you. The Lake George Education Association Memorandum of Understanding.
In light of the New York State minimum wage increase and the adjustments made to staff association salaries, we're recommending increases to the teaching assistant salary schedule in order to maintain equity and to meet the requirement or the change in minimum wage. This was a condition of the LGEA contract settlement.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. Okay. now. Any comments from the Board of Education for this evening?
I had something then.
Go ahead.
Okay. Um, Last night, I got to attend the PTSO meeting, and it's one of my favorite district meetings. Mary Ann McKenzie and I try to attend all the PTSO meetings, and we have remarked together in the past of how impressed we are with student leadership that's on display at these meetings, and last night did not disappoint. It was another great example. We had 3 students from the high school representing FBLA, and they told us about a project, the service project that they're working on, and they were making a request to the PTSO for some financial backing so they could have a better success with that project. We also had 2 elementary school students present information and updates on the progress with the Gaga ball pit, which we mentioned for the Olympics. And the one that was there for the Olympics was a borrowed, and this will be a permanent. And most adults don't know what Gaga is, but almost every kid in the world does know what Gaga is, and they know how to play. It's through osmosis, I guess. I don't know. It is so much fun to watch, and I'm really excited for the elementary school to have this. They were talking about the ground needed to thaw before they could move forward, but they gave us a really detailed, excellent report on the planning, implementation, and all the details of that. So it was really fun to see this student-led project and hear from our students. So we truly, K through 12 leadership is on display on a regular basis at these PTSO meetings. And I really, the PTSO is so supportive, K through 12, of initiatives that are going on, and the folks in the PTSO work really hard at fundraising and supporting a lot of projects. So I'm really grateful to that. But so it was fun as always to be at the PTSO meeting. So.
Thank you, Katie.
Lynn,
Yeah.
could I just also wanted to say congratulations, send the congratulations out to all of the winter sports athletes here at Lake George. Congratulations on fantastic winter sports seasons and seasons that were, well, getting a little bit more normal. And especially congratulations to seniors this might have been their last season
thing,
that they're
yeah.
playing. And just really looking forward to the spring season for all the students and what it'll bring. So great job, Warriors. So.
Thank you, Janine. That was very nice. Anyone else? Rose?
Yep, I just want to call attention to, well, I know that there's a lot of hard work that goes into everything that's done in the school, but I just want to call attention to Bonnie Hart's work on the code of conduct. I read her 42-page dissertation on the code of conduct, and is quite detailed, and I know she's presented to you, and I know you're aware, but we did pass it or approve it tonight, and I just wanted to make sure she's recognized for the hard work that she put into that. She was challenged with that at the beginning of the year, and rose to the challenge and did a fine job with it. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Thanks, Rose. That's good. Any other board members have a comment? Okay, we've now reached our second public comment period. Again, if you could limit your remarks to 3 minutes, we would appreciate it. And Ms. Clark, you were on the list again. Is your comment the same?
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I have no comment.
Okay, thank you. Again, thank you for attending the meeting. I think Mr. McCabe, you are next. I think you have to turn the mic on. Is it? Oh, I didn't see the, it's on. You're good. I didn't see the green.
This is about the code of conduct.
No, it's not. Hang on.
There we go. I just had a question for, it was section E, and it was about the portion on gender. And it says actual or perceived sex, and includes person's gender identity or expression. I was just kind of wondering where this goes with, how do you handle that? Is this something that today I come in, I want to be addressed as geez, this is tough for me.
Yeah.
Whatever, female
I mean, does it differ from day to day
yeah,
and what do we
and
do?
then
Yeah.
and then you got these kids that are supposed to adapt to this on the fly. Is there going to be disciplinary actions for kids that don't get the right pronouns?
Dr. Huntley, you want to field
I'm
that
just
one?
kind of curious if this stuff is, no. Okay.
Mhm.
I got one more question.
Okay.
The other question is equity. Can somebody explain how that works, equity? This is a big part of this new stuff rolling out. I'd like to know personally, can you explain equity? How does that work? I mean, you guys voted on this stuff and you're power to you. So you should be able to explain it. I don't understand it. Can someone give me an explanation of how that works? Yeah.
Equity is, a lot of people, it could be kids with special needs, that we provide an equitable education for all students, regardless of race, regardless of religion.
We do that anyway, though. We do that anyway. So equity, we do that already. So what is equity? I mean, this is I guess what I'm getting at is if you have someone in special ed and you have, my kids are special ed, I had services and stuff like that. We already do things to accommodate the kids to make them, longer test time or whatever. So I don't understand what the equity is. I mean, and I guess where I'm going with this is not a form of like affirmative action, is it?
No.
No, I think
Because equity that's the same thing, correct? I mean, equity, is it the same playing field? So if someone's here and we're here and we gotta, how do you give that guy, we're having a race and equity is this guy's gonna start here and the other guy's gonna start there. Do I got this right?
No, I understand your question,
Okay.
but what we can do is it's a little bit more involved. We can provide more
Okay.
information
I just,
through email then.
I
But it's a good question.
That's all.
To clarify that further.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well,
Thank, Janine, go ahead.
oh, no, I was going to say that was a good analogy
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
Jim made. It just taking that and applying it to an educational field, recognizing that, we don't all start from the same place educationally and that has to be recognized and we have to adjust as a district to make sure that we're supporting the needs of those students wherever their starting point is. But and again, I think Mr. McCabe made such a good point. Like, yeah, we do that. Like, so I don't think we're trying to.
Yeah,
we're
it's not
trying
it's not an
recreate
attempt
the-
to make it any different.
No,
It's just that
I think it's just
now
to
it's kind
recognize
of required that we have it in writing somewhere. So
Just I think to
to
recognize.
clarify. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
yes, sir. Sure.
My name is Greg Starrett. I have 2 children in the school system and live at Lake George. A question about the MacBooks that we get throughout the whole thing. I remember we were told about that we get MacBooks in 9th grade and then they carry it through 12th grade, right? And then there was a possible thing where we could buy them, or then do we replace them with newer books? Do we donate the books that we have to other poorer schools? I just wanted to know how all the technology and stuff like that, how we deal with it and there, because that's a pretty big expense, I would say, for they're not cheap and all that stuff. And then I was wondering, because I was told I could possibly buy out the
Yeah.
MacBook at the end of the whole thing.
Right.
And so, or to something about getting latest models or something like that. I think that might have, I don't know if that went through since COVID, if we've updated them enough or what. I don't know the whole story about all that stuff. I was just interested in if there's a breakdown that I could look at of how that policy goes forth and what we do with the ones that we get rid of there. I mean, once they're outdated, it would be great, donate it to a third World School or something like that, where so
Sure.
it's still being used. I'm very big into recycling and making things, not throwing anything away.
Yeah.
There, because we throw so much away. And there, I just
Lynn-
want to make sure it gets used.
Lynn,
fairly.
do you want to expound on that a little? Just briefly?
We
Thanks.
actually do sell them at the end of each school year. But at the end of each school year, we categorize them, whether or not they're suitable to be sold. Some are damaged and we can repair them.
Yep.
Some might only need a battery replacement, and some are not worth repairing at all. So after we've exhausted selling what we can sell internally, then we deal with a company that actually buys them from us for parts. So
Okay.
at least they're not ending up in a landfill or
Okay, so
wherever.
we're getting
Right.
reimbursed for the money and stuff like that.
Yes.
Okay, so is it worth the reimbursement, or could we we don't get tax breaks, do we? If we
We don't pay
donate it to anything
taxes.
or anything? I
We
know,
don't
I'm
pay
just saying,
taxes.
like, you're giving it to somebody else too, or I was looking at a lot of these other schools that are underprivileged and stuff like that there. I didn't know how much we made off of it or whatever, and there, if that was an option or something like that. So, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have a comment from our audience this evening? Okay, well, thank you again for joining us for our meeting. We are going into a brief executive session. Is that correct, Dr. Huntley? Yes. So we don't anticipate any future action, so we'll be adjourning from our executive session. I thank you again for taking time to join us at our monthly meeting.
We
I need a
make
motion to go into executive session.
Motion.
Oh, for the point, and, okay, for the purpose of discussing a person's employment history. Sorry. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
motion carried. Thank you. Guys, I'm losing it.